I am going to do a quick, I'm hoping it's quick, tutorial on how to make this little Inchie that I created for a swap at myscraproom.ning.com. So the first thing I did was I'm just using, ice cream topping box, any kind of chipboard or cereal box, board, cardboard, as long as you can punch through it. I did a 3/4 of an inch hole. And then because it needs to be 1 square inch, I'm going to do 1 square inch right over the top of the hole so I can center it so I can see where it's at. So you should end up with something like that. Okay, and then you're going to need a base for underneath that, so you're going to do one more. Sorry about how loud that is. One more plain square because that's going to rest on the top. So the circle on the inside, of course, is going to be that 3/4 circle again. And there's that one. So when all is said and done, you'll have your base, your top part, and your center. That'll pop right in the center. So to get the image on that, I just use black, Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And I don't know that it really matters what kind of ink you use. I've already mounted my stamps on there. I'm only using the very top of it, so I'm going to line that up to make sure I get the whole part of the image that I want on there and press down. Okay. Then the next thing, I used a classic Stampin' Ink pad called Night of Navy by Stampin' Up. And I don't necessarily endorse any product or any specific company, but I just happen to find a great deal on these stamp pads, and so that's why I kind of stick with those. So, going back to that. You want to ink up the edges of this. And then ink the entire top of it. I usually work with a mat, but I did one ahead of time so that I would have it. It'll end up looking like this after you've inked the whole thing. Okay, and then this little guy gets inked around the edges. And then if you squish this together with your thumb and your fingers, you'll get ink on the inside here. That's the part that I used to do that teeny tiny olive. So I use a water pen with one little drop, just enough to wet that tiny little olive. And I'm way off frame. Let me bring it back in here. And get a little more of the green. That's it. You see that? No, it's kind of green. Alright. So now we've got the top part that we need to decorate. What I did, I used a Uniball pigment ink pen in white. And I just drew squiggly lines all over it. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. make squiggly lines, make it look however you want it to look. Until you've pretty much covered the whole thing. Then bring your dark ink back in again. And give all 4 sides of this a really good dark inking. Just enough so that it kind of leaks onto the front. It looks like a dark edge and kind of a shadow creeping over the edge. See that? Okay. And then what makes this really cool is the stickles. So it kind of takes this ordinary bland looking thing and just smear some stickles on. Look at the difference. It almost makes that dark blue kind of black, but makes it look even more like a shadow. So cool. I'm just going to finish that up. Super quick, super easy. If it takes longer than a few minutes to make something, I usually lose interest. So I've got one already pre-made. So I put the 4 pop dots on the back, so it's just that piece that we made right here. Well, 4 little pop dots on the corners. See? That one's already dry. Now you can see the white squiggly marks a little bit better. Okay, so that's going to go on top of the Inchie square like that. So all I do is I just peel back these pieces. And then line it up and squish it on. Give each corner kind of a little push so it doesn't come off and you'll end up with that. And then you have to add the picture. So I use quick dry adhesive Scotch brand. Love this stuff. It is so awesome. It dries quickly, but if you don't want to put it down and not be able to move it at all, this gives you a few seconds of play before it actually sticks. But you don't have to wait forever for it. So you just tuck it through the hole. Give it a little push down. And that's it. Celebrate. That's the little Inchie. So now you can see the one that I had made and the one that we made together. If you want your little glass to look like a little glass right here in the center where it's got a little bit more shine, I just used one of these things from Ranger. It's an embossing pen. And you just draw on, color on where you want it, put your embossing powder on, and then heat set it. But I'm not going to show that part, just for the sake of this video. And then here's also another type of Inchie that I've made. Excuse me. Some perfect pearls. Pearl X, and some embossing powders. That was my phone. And this one that I've done with some perfect pearls. And again, that white Uniball pen. So yeah, it's a couple of different kind of Inchies that I made. So I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for letting me share. And if you want to see more tutorials, leave a comment